Hey guys, welcome back to another video, guys. And it was about time I started play testing the MOHAWK gunship because I got it to level 7 and I realized, hey, you know what, it's time for me to start using it because let's see how effective this unit can be. Note that most of my opponents will have level 9 and above units, so the MOHAWK gunship is relatively weaker than my opponent's units, but that's fine. I wanted to still play test it. Now you can see my opponent, he does a very good job at defending his harvester here from the start against my jump jets. What I like to do with this army is create a barrack first rather than the helipad, and then start off with a jump jet, so I can start off with an aggressive play and threaten my opponent's harvester right off the bat. Because look, he's gonna go for a double harvester. He's got 3 tech lab units. There's so many players still going for, you know, double harvesters, or they're trying to pump out tech labs. So I want to stop that. I'm bringing in an aggressive army, and my strategy is always to play aggressive. So what I try to do is I build 1 talent at this point and start harassing his shockwaves, and what I want to do is clear a path for my jump jets and my MOHAWK gunships to start firing on those harvesters. So what you really want to do with the MOHAWK gunship is try to kill your enemy harvesters. If he has no vehicles, like in this case, he's got an Orca Bomber. He sends 1 Orca Bomber to kill my harvester, but my MOHAWK gunship at the same time is shredding those harvesters with my jump jets, and I'm effectively stopping his economy. That's the one thing I really like about the MOHAWK gunship. It's just as effective as the Orca Bomber when it's taking out harvesters. I quickly down 2 harvesters there with the help of the jump jets, but the MOHAWK gunship are very, very effective at taking down ground vehicle units and harvesters. And once again, I'm going for the harvester again. And in this case where my opponent built a lot of shockwaves, it couldn't attack my air units. So that was a benefit on my side because my MOHAWK gunship kind of got a free pass here until he got a zone trooper up. And right now he's struggling to get his economy up because whatever harvester he sends, I'm immediately going to start attacking it with my jump jets and MOHAWKs. I don't give this man a rest. And when I use this aggressive MOHAWK gunship army where I target and go for the harvesters aggressively, I don't let these mans farm. So you can see his economy is constantly on the low. And once again, another harvester goes down while securing the second missile. Quick and easy game, guys. When you got the MOHAWK gunship, I highly recommend you try going for the enemy harvesters and bring in an aggressive army and stop those harvesters from crystal farming, because you know there's gonna be some dangerous units later on in the game if you don't stop it. Alright guys, this will be the second game, and once again it's against the GDI opponent with Dr. Liang. So when someone brings in Dr. Liang or General Solomon, it probably means he's got a lot of tech lab units. This guy has 1 less tech lab unit than the other guy. Now interestingly enough, he goes off into the jump jet, no harvester rush opening, thinking that hey, he can get 300 crystals. Now, I always start with barracks with this helipad build most of the time, so I go into a shockwave before I create a jump jet. Normally, I would make a jump jet, but seeing that his jump jet was already starting to attack my harvester, I immediately went for my shockwave, and I protect my harvester very well by making it walk through my shockwaves and right behind, so my shockwaves will take care of this jump jet and he just doesn't get through. And I did a nice defensive wall there with my shockwave. Now he's got a harvester on his side, of course, at this point because he failed his rush. He has a helipad as well. I sent my jump jet right away and my shockwave across the map because I obviously want to stop this guy, take the advantage, take the initiative at this point, and don't let this man farm. And he gets 1 shockwave out on the field, but I get my shockwave to defend my jump jets as best as I can. I get another jump jet up, and I'm going to kill this harvester no matter what, because I got good early lead, and I'm not going to let this guy farm. Now I get a helipad up, I get more jump jets, because I see another harvester going up to the top, and he's only got 1 defensive unit at this point. He cannot farm. I'm not letting this guy farm. I go for a MOHAWK gunship as well at this point, because hey, you know what, if he brings out another harvester to the bottom, or if he goes for double harvesters or something like that to speed up his farming process or his harvesting process, you know what, it's gonna meet my MOHAWK gunship on the south here, and it's gonna get blasted into pieces by the MOHAWK's gunnery. And you can see there's another harvester getting down, and the shockwave, of course, can't attack air units. That's the great thing about MOHAWK gunships, they're flying. And at this point, my opponent actually ends up disconnecting the game. And I decided to test the firepower of my MOHAWK gunships on the base because he disconnected. He just rage quit at this point because, you know, I was destroying this guy. Even though I boost one of the MOHAWK gunships with Colonel Jackson's ability, it takes rather longer than I thought for the base to go down. So I don't think the Mohawk Gunship is the best unit to do a base rush. This is what I can tell you from just looking at the speed of 3 Mohawks boosted by a Colonel Jackson speed up ability and a talent attacking the base. That took a little bit longer than it should have, so the Mohawk Gunship is probably not the best unit to do a base rush with unless his base is almost dead. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the third game. Alright guys, this will be the third game, and once again it's General Solomon. My opponent's playing here on the left hand side, and I'm gonna go right into a Harvester. Of course, he's gonna go for a Harvester. As you guys saw, he goes for a Barracks, and so do I, because like I said guys, I like to open up with a Barrack right into a Jump Jet, because that lets me, even though it's a very expensive scouting unit, the Jump Jet is not a cheap scouting unit. Neither does it have the vision range of a War Dog or a Militant or a Rifleman. But if I ever get a chance to kill his Harvesters, Jump Jets are great for that. So that's why I go for the Jump Jets early on from the start. He goes for a double Shockwaves. And I'm going to go for a Shockwave and quickly send it to the middle launch pad. And I'm going to try to hold it. Now, just to let you guys know, my opponent's Shockwave is actually stronger than mine, because even though we're at the same level, he had trained his Shockwave to level 3. So he trained his units to the max level, so his Shockwaves are a little bit stronger than mine. So it would actually beat me in a 1 versus 1 fight. But of course I have Colonel Jackson, so as long as I use my Colonel Jackson's ability correctly here, I should be able to take care of his Shockwaves. And that's what I do. I cleanly take out those Shockwaves one by one, even though he won against me in that initial Shockwave fight here. And it's just going to be a battle of the Shockwaves at this point. I could go for a Helipad and go for a Talon at this point, which would make my life a lot easier, but I decided to pump out Shockwaves because I am very good at using Shockwaves and I know how to win these fights. And at this point, I take the advantage and I clear out his Shockwaves. I see a double Harvester coming out. He goes for one Jump Jet, probably thinking I'd have like a tank or a Pitbull trying to kill one of his Harvesters here. But instead, I go for a Jump Jet once again, and I immediately attack the Harvester, of course, because I don't want this man farming. You can see that he's got a Kodiak Battleship, and we all know what Kodiak Battleships can do, if you guys saw from my last video, and we definitely don't want to deal with that. So I immediately take out the Harvester. Definitely capturing the first missile was a plus for me as well, and that is something what I wanted to do. So I do capture the first missile here, and at this point I start going for some MOHAWK Gunships. What happens is when you have a lot of infantry units on the ground, your opponent starts going for a lot of Shockwaves, and he's kind of capped out on his units, and this makes it easier for me to go for a Mohawk and start killing his Harvesters. I killed one Harvester already. When you boost a Mohawk Gunship with the Colonel Jackson ability, it also attacks really fast. And look at how fast the Harvester goes, even though that Harvester is at 2 levels higher than my Mohawk Gunship. He starts going for Pitbulls at this point, because of course he's not going to be able to clear out my air units with just Shockwaves and Jump Jets. So he goes for mass Pitbulls. He's got no Harvester. He's not farming. He can't get a Tech Lab up, so he can't get those Wolverines up to clear out my air units. So he's in a big troubled spot right now, because of course his plan was to go for those Tech Lab units, just like the other players that I completely destroyed and whacked around with my Mohawk Gunships. And gotta love these flying gunships, guys, because they just do so much damage against vehicle units, and they can clear out Harvesters so fast. If you just know how to Harvester snipe with these Mohawk Gunships, you're gonna have a really great time. Alright, this will be the final game for this video, guys. I've added a 4th game this time because the Mohawk Gunship is a really cool unit. I really like using this unit, especially going for those Harvesters. That's what they're really good at. They're kind of like the Orca Bomber, and sometimes your opponent doesn't expect it because there isn't a lot of players using the Mohawk Gunship right now. I rarely meet this unit. Anyways, my opponent has a nice infantry start here, and it counters my Jump Jet rush into his Harvester, and that's what I do. And I told you guys that I like to start with the Jump Jets, and I like to go for the Harvester right off the bat. So he's got Militants, and he's got Chemical Warriors. Now, Chemical Warriors will definitely beat my Shockwaves and my Jump Jets. So I decided to go for a Helipad because I've got to build some talents. There's no way I could try fighting him with my Shockwaves, but it's going to be a tough fight if that's the case. So he's got 2 Chemical Warriors at this point and a Militant. And I go for a Talon, of course. I'm going to try to go for one more Talon, send it to the top. And he goes for 1 War Factory, going for attack bikes in this case, of course, to deal with my talents. And I'm planning to build some Mohawk Gunships as well. They're pretty good against attack bikes, even though his attack bikes are level 9. My Mohawk Gunship will beat one attack bike in a 1 versus 1 fight. And of course I can use the Mohawk Gunship to clear out his Harvester as well. And right now his attack bikes have cleared out all my talents. And I'm trying to secure this missile at this point. And my Mohawk gunship, like I said, does beat that attack bike in a 1 versus 1 fight. And my talent will clear out those chemical warriors while he's sending out banshees at this point. And banshees are a big problem because, of course, talents are also weak against banshees, and Mohawk gunships don't do as much, can't do anything against banshees. But I take out 1 harvesters. If you guys saw that on the right hand side with my Mohawk gunship, like I said, guys, go for that harvester because Mohawk gunships are really good at that. I captured a missile because he was trying to also protect his harvester at the same time. So I captured his first missile here, guys. And he keeps pumping out attack bikes and banshees, which are very good against my Mohawk gunship and talents. But you're going to see that I try to attempt to kill another harvester here with my double Mohawks. And I try to protect my Mohawks against the banshee with my talent, but they all end up going down to his attack bikes. I failed to kill that harvester there. So I switched it up to jump jets now because, of course, jump jets can wreck attack bikes and his harvesters, and he doesn't have any of those chemical warriors or militants up to counter my jump jets right away. So there's another harvester down, and my goodness, guys, I love playing aggressively like this. I love just going up all into my opponent's face, not letting him farm. Just going for that economy is the best way to play this game because you're gonna hurt your opponent so bad, and you're gonna end up outlasting him, out farming him, getting those crystals. Look at my Mohawk gunship once again, boosted with Colonel Jackson, takes out that harvester single-handedly. That was so funny to see. I love seeing these Mohawk gunships just tear down these harvesters. I love these gunships, absolutely. I think these guys are amazing, and more people should use them for sure. Like I said, I'm just not seeing a lot of players use them. But it's a really great unit. It's really fun to use as well if you use it properly. It does take some practice. I definitely had to get used to how the Mohawk gunships work. They're kind of like Predator tanks or Scorpion tanks. They cost about the same. But know that they're very good at killing harvesters. And that can be helpful to you. And also they're good at killing attack bikes and other vehicle units. Anyways, at this point, the missile's almost done. I've wrecked him enough with the economy. At this point, I want to capture the missile, of course. And I switch it up to pit bulls at this point because he's got a whole bunch of attack bikes. And my pit bulls, being at the same level as attack bikes, are going to beat his attack bikes relatively easily here. And he decides to finally go for some phantoms as well to clear out my air units here. I almost get the missile, but my talent goes down on the bottom hand launch pad. I secure the top launch pad, and once again I switch it up with talents. Once again, a great counter because he just focused on going for air units, seeing that I only went for Mohawk gunships and talents. Boom, there we go, guys. I captured a unit with my buff pit bulls there at the end, as his phantoms and his weakened attack bikes just could not handle the pit bull there on the south launch pad, securing the missile, and I win this game. So you guys should definitely check out and try out the Mohawk gunship. I think it's a great unit. It's a safe unit to level up and spend your crystals on. Remember, guys, be aggressive when you play with the Mohawk gunship. Like the Orca Bomber, try to kill your enemy's harvesters as much as you can because they're very good at it, and also they're very good at dealing with other vehicle units. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about the gunship, and I'll see you guys next time.